Alrighty, so we're on part 2 now. Remington 1100, cleaning it. I'm going to start putting it back together now and go through that. Well, actually, I stopped on cleaning. So basically, I'm wiping down all these parts. On this right here, I really want to I take a Q-tip and go in between this barrel ridge here. I can't, the name escapes me on what's that called? Crap. Whatever. Somebody will think of it, call me a dummy. So I'm cleaning this. This right here looks kind of rough. It was probably just worn from shells because when they blew this, the bluing kind of wears off after a while. So when I'm looking on here, I'm looking for any worn parts. Again, cleaning the barrel good, looking down the barrel. I sprayed some oil down the barrel. Hopefully you can see down that barrel. If it's dirty, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the magazine tube. Shove a little sock through here. Now people will use patches and they'll use cleaning rods. When I'm doing a shotgun, because it's so big, I want a little bit more tension. So I want to shove something tight in there that's going to be kind of a pain to get in and a pain to get out, because I want it to wipe down all that crap. And then I'm just going to shove that through the barrel. Because this thing isn't long enough, I have a little extension here. And I'm just going to shove that right through the barrel. Okay, so then after that goes through, we're going to look down it again. And I can't tell if it's cleaner or better. So maybe you can tell. Maybe I'm too close. So that's what I want my barrel looking like. And again, I will do that as many times as I need until it looks like that. That looks like that because I already cleaned it and I just put 4 rounds through it. So this thing isn't, I'm not doing as detailed of a cleaning. I just want to show you the breakdown, kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to make sure the 2 pins are clean. There's not rust or carbon buildup in these little grooves right here. I want those because those is what retains the pin in the frame. So this is the retaining pin for the bolt. Remember we pulled that out? That's what you use to pull. So I'm going to make sure that's nice and clean. Again, I'm looking for dirt. And same thing with this tube. There's a hole there. I want to make sure it's nice and clean. So I'm going to shove something in there. Twist it around, make sure it's nice and clean. I sprayed oil in there. Of course, this isn't that dirty, and I'm kind of using a dirty rag, but this is removing as much as I'm more cleaning this gun this way for you guys than I am to clean it. Again, it's a shrunk down version. Now a lot of people neglect their springs and they don't clean them. And I'm a biggie on cleaning your spring. And you don't clean a spring by going, okay, it's clean. That's I was in the military, somebody turned a gun, check that spring, I'd be like, get that out of here, go do it again. So I wrap either a patch or a sock or something through one of the rings of all my springs, and then I twist that to make sure that it's around one groove, and then I twist my spring, and I twist it one way all the way out, and I know it cleans it good, and I keep twisting because it'll keep cleaning in between every little, and now I know I get all the grooves out of that, and then wherever I missed it, I come back, wrap that around, and I twist it the other way until the whole spring works its way through. You notice this side's getting longer, this one's getting shorter. That's probably some physics explanation for that. I just call it the slinky effect. So I'm twisting this, and I'm doing this all the way around my spring. Now I already did this spring, so I'm not going to work my way all through here. But don't forget to clean your spring. Your spring will get rust, it'll lose the tension, it'll lose its stiffness. So I don't want this dirty and rusty either. A lot of people just wipe them down. I want to clean the whole thing. So I think we're pretty much done on this. So now that I got it clean, And this is where people are different. I'm not going to shoot this gun. It's going to go in my safe. I'll tell you why later in the video, but I'm not going to be shooting this gun. So for right now, I'm just going to give it a light coat of oil all over it. And then when I put it together, it's going to have that light coat of oil on it. So, what do I want to do first? Well, I'm going to try to go in reverse on what I did. Remember we sprayed down this housing? This is one of the last things I took apart. Put this back in here. Don't forget your spring that goes in first. Without the spring, you don't have your groove. So this little guy right here, I didn't wipe him down. I need to wipe him down real quick. And he was pretty dirty before. So me wiping him down now, I'm still removing carbon that was dissolved from my first cleaning. And I'm going to give that just a little squirt. And again, remember this goes in flat side this way, not this way, where it's got the grooves. And I got to squeeze these little things here. And that goes right in that little hole right back up here. But first I got to get it in a little groove. So I got to slide this in here. And you'll find the groove when you hit it, kind of just fits in there. So it's kind of hard to do it, but you just kind of slide it around and figure out when it fits in that groove, and there it is in the groove. So once I get it in the groove, I got to squeeze this little thing right here. And when I squeeze it, I'm going to put that. You know what? I think I might have used a pair of needle nose to put that in there. Let me grab a needle nose real quick. I don't have a little needle nose, so I got these big ones. So I'm going to, again, once I make sure it's in this groove to where it's sliding back and forth where it needs to be, I'm going to take some needle nose. And that's going to squeeze those together. Then I'm going to put that right in that little hole. And I can't do it and keep it on camera, so I'm going to do it over here. Sorry. Otherwise I'll burn up all my time trying to get this in here. So trying to hold it up there was just a little difficult. So now it's in there. And again, that's what it looks like. I had to squeeze that little thing, put it in there. So once that spring's back in there, I'm going to go ahead and put my trigger housing back in. I've already sprayed it down, wiped it off. Take it, I'm going to put it in the same way it came out. If you remember, I kind of pulled from the back and it slid out. Then I'm going to slide it in kind of the same. Oh shit, that wasn't good. The hell was that just fell off? Shit! Well, what the hell? That looks like some sort of retaining pin. Sorry, technical error. Oh man, that little sucker's tight. Oh, here we go. Come on, baby. Okay, that's why you kind of always want to do this in a clean area. So when you drop it, if something comes off, you can kind of see. And I don't even know if this goes here, but I think it does. Oh, shit. I think it does. Shit. Oh, man, I don't want to have to pause this damn thing. This is just kind of a retaining spring. What came off here is this little spring right here, which is on this side of this hole, and this side doesn't. So it fits over there. But it's not wanting to go on there easy. And I'm not sure how I'm going to get it on there in the film quickly. Without well, I don't know why the hell that sucker come off, because it ain't going on easy. Okay, I think I might have it on. But it doesn't look right. If you hear me talking about when you're doing knots, you want your knot to look clean, and you want it finished. And if a knot isn't finished, it doesn't look like it's right. And this spring isn't looking finished. And I can't get it on. So I'll have to put that on in a minute. So I'll just go ahead and put this back together without it and kind of show you how this goes back in here. So forget that spring coming off. I'll put that back on here. I'm going to slide this in here. Once I slide it in, I want to get the holes lined up, which is pretty easy. It lines right up. Once the holes line up, I get my 2 pins. Remember, a little one in the front, big one in the back. Get them to where they just tap right in. There's 1. There's 2. Pins are in. My trigger's in. Once my trigger's in, slide this puppy back on here. This is going to be my carry group, my bolt carry group. Remember, your bolt sets on here. It only goes one way because you want your firing pin facing the same way as the bullet. If your firing pin's the other way, it's wrong. I've seen people try to put them back together that way. That's wrong. You need your ejector, so it grabs the bullet out of the barrel and your firing pin facing this way, then this goes right back in here. This isn't going to go in till you reach in. Remember we talked about that little pin earlier? You reach in, you push that little pin in, and that's going to let this sucker go in. And once you press that little pin, your bolt goes in. Once your bolt goes in, got that slid in there, your little bolt thing goes right here. Slide that in. That should be there, so when I pull this back, it should lock to the rear. When I press this, it should go forward. And it does. So I'm pretty good here. So now I'm going to lock this to the rear. Magazine tube. Remember, you got two caps there in the magazine tube. One feeds the ammo, so it fits in there loosely. It goes in just like this, and it drops straight down. This one goes in like this after you put the spring in. So I'm going to slide the spring in. Put the spring in the hole. Put my cap over here. And again, this is where people get loose. They're trying to get this in here and this is flying and they're losing. I usually just work this down one by one with my fingers, keeping tension on this all the way down. Keeping tension. I usually have it set on the ground. I'm holding it between my legs so it'll be in camera. And then once I get it close enough, if I let this go, my spring's flying. So now I'm going to set this on top. And I've only got an inch or so to press. Get that in there, hold tension. Push that right in. And that tension spring will hold that. And now that's going to hold my magazine spring with my plug in there. Okay? After we do that, got to put our little rings back on. Remember how you took them off? Make sure you take a look at them. Flat side first. You got a big lip and a round end. That goes right into there like that. I hate when I see videos and I'm like, man, they went too fast. I can't see shit. I can't figure it out. So I'm trying to go slow here. Goes right in there like that on your rings. And then this flat side goes on first, and it should just slide right down. Now you got to get that little O-ring there. Remember I told you about protecting that? So I'm just going to put this little piece of plastic over here. I'm going to put my O-ring over this plastic. Slide that around. Now it's not getting hit on those grooves and getting torn up. Slide it right past the plastic, pull the plastic off. That little O-ring goes right in that little groove there for the O-ring. I think they call that the O-ring groove. Pretty technical term. So that O-ring will fit in there. If it's worn, cut, it feels stiff, it should be rubbery. Now I've taken these out that were stiff before, put a little Vaseline on them and let them set overnight, and then wipe the Vaseline off and oil them up, and it softened them up. Some people say don't do that, it's special, blah, blah, blah. You know what, I've done it and I've never had a problem. So now that your O-ring is there, your two little rings right here will be stopped by that O-ring. This cap right here will go over, just like the barrel. It's going to slide the barrel, so I'm going to put this over, get the barrel lined up, making sure to go slow so I don't mess up this O-ring right here. So I'm going to slide that over there. It'll stop. It's kind of, it stops short. See how the barrel isn't all the way in right here? So I'm going to make sure and get this barrel all the way in. There we go, it's snapped in. Now the barrel's all the way in. If I let that go, that tends to lock my barrel in until I get my screw back on here. Put my 4-end grip right over here, and it's got to fit to where the grooves come out. Take my end cap and screw it on, and there's usually a little BB or ball bearing right here, or bump, and you see these little bumps underneath here. And those would lock this pin to keep it from unscrewing. So when you're spinning it in first, and on most guns, I always reverse thread all my screws, because they're finely machined screws. This one you don't have to do it so much, but when you're working on smaller screws, instead of just going in here and trying to get it to fit itself, I always go backward till I hear a click. Hear that click? Now I know it just seated properly. As soon as I hear that click, then I screw it on and it seats properly. So you notice you don't hear any clicking when I'm screwing this. In a minute you're going to hear clicking as I get closer, as the screw makes contact with this pin right here. And then you want this tight. And I usually, again, I'll press this barrel down, and it gives me almost another half turn. A turn or a turn and a half as I press this barrel down, because I want it nice and tight. Then I'm going to do my function check. Again, do a function check on a gun. Squeeze the trigger. Should go click. Hold that trigger back. I'm going to cycle around. I listen for a trigger reset. Hear that little click back there? And then it should click again and fire the hammer. And now it fired. That wasn't very much of a reset. It's pretty quiet. Try it one more time. Do it faster so you can hear it. So that tells me the guns function properly. Hopefully that helps. I'll pull that housing out and put that little spring back in there. I may have to get on YouTube and figure out what happened there. So hopefully that cleared up 1100. I probably called it a 1911. I got 1911 on the brain. I don't know, because I clean most of them and do my videos on them. But the 1100 is a great gun. Fast, quick reloading. Take that plug out, you get 4 rounds in here. You can put an extended magazine tube that'll give you 2 extra rounds. So you get 6 rounds in here at once. So it makes it a 7-round shotgun. That's a pretty formidable weapon. You can load these things with double-aught buck, which is like 9 .32 caliber pellets, like shooting somebody 9 times with a 32. It puts 9 .32 caliber. You get number 6 shot. That's like, I think 10 or 11, 12, 22 rounds in one bullet when you fire it out. A shotgun fires 1,000, 1,200 feet per second. It goes pretty damn quick. You can load it with a slug if you don't have a choke, which is a 1-ounce slug, heavy bullet, heavy hitting power. Really, really great gun. Like I said, if I only had one gun, and they said you can only have one, First of all, I'd be raising hell. I couldn't just have one. But if, for some reason, I could only have one, a shotgun would be the most formidable weapon for home defense, hunting, taking down game. You put a slug in here, you can take down almost all large game. I mean, it is a menacing weapon. I say in my police videos, if the cops had slugs in their shotgun doing the bank robbery down in LA where the guys were in bulletproof vests and they killed all those people, they had AKs, a slug would have took, because a slug, when it hits you, even if you got a bulletproof vest on, it's breaking something. You're going down. A slug is a bad gun. So slugs, double-aught buck, number 6 shot, 4, you know, you put number 8 shot in here, it's a whole bunch of little BBs. It scatters for small game, for a fast-moving target. I mean, if you had to feed yourself, you could use this. If you had to protect yourself, you could use this. If you wanted to hunt or go get something, you can use it. I like a shotgun. I carried an 870, the pump, for years as a cop. And I think the only reason the cops have 870s is, one, they don't want the cops to be able to get out there and be going boom, 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 boom with a shotgun. It looks too bad. And requires a little bit more maintenance than 870. 870 is pretty reliable, and cops are pretty hard on guns and they neglect it. So the 870 was a good, reliable shotgun. You had to pump it. It sounded good. You had that sound that kind of intimidated people, like, oh shit, he's got a shotgun. So a lot of people like that sound. I have a couple 870s. They're great home defense. I've got a shorter barrel on them, got a pistol grip so you can cock it like this, a folding stock so I can do some entries or whatever. I used to carry it in my patrol car in the trunk. So I like the 870, but for just a quick shooting defense, you can put out a lot of rounds quick with an 1100 if you keep them properly maintained. I hear people talking smack about these. I'm telling you, man, they're pretty simple guns. And if you keep that O-ring clean and that area clean, you're doing pretty good. There's one area I did not cover that a lot of people neglect. And where am I at here? 22 minutes. Let me get this one area. People are like, damn dude, shut up. Hey, I'm trying to pass on information and I can't do it effectively quickly. In this barrel right here, you're going to notice in here, and I don't have a safety pin because that's what I use as a safety pin, but where this O-ring fits in here, there is 2 little holes that go into the barrel, and I don't know if you can see them. They're like right, they're on the barrel side, so what my hand's holding on to, and there's 2 little holes. They get carbon buildup in there. You can see them. If I'm looking right now, I can see them. So maybe if I get that same angle for you, you can see them. There's 2 little holes right up in here on this barrel. And what I do, and this is a critical cleaning area, Q-tip, scrape all your carbon where that little O-ring's at, and that gases, that's what builds up and get dirty. And those 2 little holes right there, you want to make sure they're open. Sometimes they'll get clogged with crap. So I take a little safety pin and I bend the end to where it looks like this. And then I stick that little safety pin in there and I just poke those holes and make sure they're nice and clean. Spray some oil in there and I poke those holes with a little safety pin. You can use whatever you can get in there, but a safety pin works good for me when I bend the tip, the point. And I stick it in there. And again, I just poke those 2 holes and make sure there's not carbon buildup in there. Critical area that people miss. Again, somebody says, man, my 1100, that damn thing's jamming, it's not kicking out the... Dude, this is a great gun. If it ain't doing something, you didn't clean it or do it right. Because this thing works like it's supposed to almost all the time. And I was at 22 minutes. So... good, I'm good to go. Hope that helps. Remington 1100. Now I've seen these for as low as 300 and as high as 700, 800. You know, I think they go 700 new, 7 or 750 new. I think a fair price for a decent used one. I think this one cost me like $380 is what I gave for it. So, you know, 400 bucks, I think is a fairly good deal for a decent shotgun, especially one that shoots like this. And I have either 2 or 3 of these 1100s. They're really nice guns. Can't say it enough. Hope that helped. I know I went 2 videos. It's going to take me forever to upload these. My battery's giving me the flash saying shut up. I'm at 25 minutes. Remington 1100, that's the takedown. Hope that helped. Let me go fix that damn spring. I see that little sucker over there. Look at it, it's staring at me. Yeah, you're my nemesis now. All right, we'll end that there.